Hello and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of The Head Coach. My name's Daniel and today we take Dover away to York in the first game of the Vanarama National League season. Yes, we're still at Dover, but it's not for the want of trying. We've been trying to get out all summer, but have not been able to make a move as of yet. We've had interviews in 3 countries. We've had an interview at Grimsby, who are going to be in the league with us this year, but are the favourites to win the title. We've also had interviews at Linfield and Shamrock Rovers in Northern and the Republic of Ireland respectively. But we were rejected for all 3, and as it is, we're still here with Dover. So let's move on to the big bit over the summer, which is what has our director of football done, and the news is he has been absolutely awful. He's replaced some of the backroom team, our preferred assistant manager has gone and we've been replaced with someone we've never heard of, and we've also had a very quiet summer on the transfer front and arguably have weakened our squad quite significantly. So let's go and have a look first at the players who have been released from the club over the summer. So you can see there's 6 overall. We're not too worried about the first 2, they were out on loan last year, but our reserve strikers show silver, a couple of our reserve centre-halves and centre midfielders, and most importantly, Luke Wanadio, our star sub-player on the left and the right of midfield, has been released and, more importantly, hasn't entirely been replaced. You can see he's gone to Guiseley. Let's go and look at our replacements, and we'll use the term replacements very loosely indeed, because as you can see, we've only brought in 4 players. We haven't strengthened. If you consider in addition to those 6 that have left the club, we also had Hammerlinen and Casey whose loans expired, and we've only managed to bring in 4 players. So let's go through them quickly. We've got Bailey Spencer Adams. He's a 2.5 star, 18-year-old centre-half. He has got 5-star potential, but as it is at the moment, he has got deficiencies in some very key areas. His stamina is awful, so for 2 games every week, probably not the best. And he's got a composure of 1, which I don't remember ever seeing in a centre-half I've used on this game before. So that is something that is going to keep him out of the team at the start of the season. He's come from Arsenal, but he is not going to be playing straight away just as a result of that. It's very much going to be the backup at the moment. Secondly, we've got Ryan Hall. Now, this is a person I'm familiar with. He used to play for Luton. He didn't have a particularly good time. I think he was also quite successful at Southend and had a little spell at Leeds. Yes, he did. I can see it there. Okay, so he's come from Welling in the National League South, where he's been really good for the last 2 years. He's a 3-star left winger and attacking midfielder. Hasn't got any more potential as he's 31 years of age now. But again, he's fairly quick still, although that probably won't last for more than this year. And he can also put a cross in. He's decent on the set pieces, so we're actually quite happy with this signing. Probably the only one we are happy with out of the 4. Moving on, we've got Oliver Shackleton. Again, the director of football's using the affiliation with Portsmouth. He's a 2.5 star striker, 18 years of old again. He's 5-star potential, but he's nowhere near it yet. He's very average across the board. He can do both of the roles up front okay, but he's certainly, again, not going to be a first team player. We consider him the replacement for Show Silver, but as a result, that means we obviously haven't strengthened. We've just bought in like for like. Finally, we've got Nathan Pickworth, the one that doesn't make any sense to me. The director of football offered a contract to our backup keeper Chris Lewington about a week before it was due to expire. He accepted, and now he's decided to bring in this keeper Pickworth, who's no better than Mitch Walker. I can't quite understand the reasoning behind it. He's made 1 professional appearance for MK Dons and not much else. He's going to be our backup keeper, and there's not much more I can say other than I'm very puzzled by that one. Before we go and look at our pre-season, let's quickly introduce you to our new assistant manager, as he's going to be doing a lot of the work for us. His name's Josh Simpson. He's on a 2-year contract. He's got some decent stats, particularly in the coaching side, but not great at judging players and not great at motivating. So it's a little bit of a weird one for me. I can see he's come from our under-18s. Seemed like the easy appointment rather than going out and finding someone, so that's what our director of football's done. So lastly, before we start the game, let's go and look at our pre-season results. It's been a fairly mixed bag, but to be fair, it's been what you'd expect again. We've played 4 games against bigger teams in higher leagues, we've lost them all at home, and we've played 3 games against teams in lower leagues and won them all. So we had Everton in pre-season, we had MK Dons, Swindon and Portsmouth for our senior affiliate. They're all fairly tough games and we wouldn't expect to get anything out of them. But we actually played quite well in the Everton game, so there is some positive to that. But that's enough about all of that. Pre-season games mean nothing. Let's go and get into the game. Obviously there won't be too many new faces to learn here. We've got a fairly similar team to last year because we haven't been given many new players to work with. This is where you start to see the pitfalls of the head coach story and where the challenge comes from. We've got a director of football who's making all the transfer and contract decisions, and we're left with a squad that we would never in a million years pick if we had our say in it. So we've got Walker in goal today. We've got a back four similar to last year of Pike, Parry, Galifuco, who comes back in now Casey's loan's expired, and Ilasami, who's back in for Hammerline, who was in the same situation with his loan going as well. We've got a midfield four of Tracy, who's back in with Wanadio gone, Coventry, Ashby, and new signing Ryan Hall, the only one in the 11 today, and a front two of Bird and Hyde. A Younger's out with a knock. Brundle's back, can only play half of the game, so we've left him on the bench for this one. And we've got Shackleton and Spencer Adams, two of the other new signings, on the bench. We never have a sub-keeper on there when there's only 5 subs, so Pickworth has to make do with a place outside the 16. Exactly the same tactics of last year. We've still got the 2 big strikers. We've not got much talent in the middle, so we're going to go as we were before. I'd imagine York are the favourites. They were a fairly good side last year, and we haven't strengthened at all, whereas they've got a big budget and are a professional club. So we're just going to encourage them, see if they can get anything out of it. But we won't be too optimistic, and we won't worry too much if we don't get anything out of this one. We've got a situation where we're predicted to finish 17th in the league, only one place higher than last year. I'm guessing that means a few teams have weakened or some bigger sides went down because we haven't strengthened, so I don't know how we can go up in the league based on our transfer business and our signings. But York have the first shot of the game there, but there's not been too much to speak about so far in this game. I think 0-0 or 1-0 is probably the best we can hope for with the team we've got. They've got some really decent players in their team. Players like Ferguson and Newton are real star players at this level. He's got a cross into the box, Newton, and Norris heads over for them. But we're getting the warning signs in early. Yes, we've had the only shot on target, but they've had 2 good chances from their highlights already. Ilasami with the big clearance up to Bird, who wins the flick. Jake Hyde holds the ball up and has to shoot from 30 yards because there's no one there. Coventry gets the ball on the rebound, but he's been challenged easily. It's looking relatively negative for us. We haven't got a particularly strong side now. The biggest worry we have is after this 16 that are playing now, except from the sub-keeper, we haven't got any strength in depth. Yes, we've got Passley on the bench now who's back from injury, which is great, but that's still 2 right backs. There's no depth across the middle there. Obviously, the big negative with Wanadio going is we now have no sub on the right wing, and Tracy was quite inconsistent last year. None of the loans were extended. Casey refused to come back. The director of football did try, to be fair to him. Norris has headed over for York. But yeah, he did try to get Casey back. We have to be fair to him on that. But Hammerline and Wenton was released on a free. He's still not found a club and nothing's happened in regards to that. Ilias Chair, we had the option to sign him again. It was coming up. He's got another year in his contract, but the director of football didn't do anything. As Jake Hyde gets a shot on the edge of the box, but he puts it over. But yeah, we just seem to be a bit quiet in the window. We've got plenty of wage budget left. We've got over £1,500. We've got about 20,000 a transfer budget from reduced bonuses. We always do the reduced one in a cup. But he just doesn't seem to be taking any action on it. And I don't know if he's just leaving it to the last minute. But we've got a really weak side. And if we want to get into the playoffs or anywhere near it again, in fact, we really need to get 2 or 3 in. The only optimistic hope we've got is that occasionally when you don't make many signings, as you'll see probably with... Oh dear. I'll stop that one in my tracks as we've let in a goal. What I was going to say is the dynamics occasionally stay high if you haven't got loads of new signings to integrate. But quality tells at the end of the day, and we haven't got much of it. Compared to last year's team, 3 or 4 of the players that would have started are unavailable, and we've not replaced any of them with stronger players. Hall for Pinnock's a fairly like-for-like change. There's not much in terms of quality between them. I think Hall just edges it on the set pieces, which is why he's in. Coventry's in because Brundle's out injured. It's a slight weakness to the team. Ilasami's nowhere near as good as Hammerline at left back. Galifuco's nowhere near as strong as Casey developed into by the end of the season last year. And overall, we're just weaker across the park. There's not much we can say other than that. We're not as good a side as we were last year, and we're expected to finish in a similar position. So I think we're going to be looking more at reaching our expectations rather than exceeding them this year. But we're coming up to half time. We've not really had many attacks to speak about at all. Jake Hyde's had a poor half and looks frustrated. He's gone down to a 2.5-star rated player now, so I think this might be his last year at the top. But he does win the flick on there for Bird, who's coming on the counter-attack. Slips a lovely ball into Ryan Hall, who's wasted the chance by putting it wide. But that is going to be half-time, and it's a really poor half. But I can't say I hadn't expected anything different, to be honest, because we haven't got the players on the board now. And I'm sure you'll agree with me, we're not as good a side as last year. I'm still actively looking to get a job. We'll give them a bit of a kick up the backside to say it was disappointing, but we're still looking actively to get out of this club. They're not investing. They seem to be very, very keen to keep things tight and keep the money in the club. The new owner, it did finally go through the takeover with the consortium, but the owner just took out a loan straight away, which proved why there were suspicions about the funds. He took out a big loan, about $250,000, and didn't invest any money into transfer dealings or anything like that. The wage budget stayed exactly the same. We haven't really seen any increases to funding in any area of the club, and again we're relying on hoping we can get a Portsmouth loan signing. Bird's had a go from 35 yards there, and it's an awful shot, but he hasn't really got any support. The front two are both slow, so they can't keep up with each other when they go on the counter attack. Norris has been slide challenged there, but it's fallen to Lazarus, who's left free in the box, but thankfully he's put it over via the bar. If anything, York look comfortable getting the second goal here. They look capable, they look comfortable, and they look like they're going to dominate the rest of this game. We're going to make a couple of changes. The only positive we've got is that the best player on the pitch for us has been Ryan Hall, the new signing. We're going to bring Shackleton on for Hyde up top. We're going to swap them round and see if Shackleton, just because he's got a little tiny bit of pace, 10's not great. We're going to bring Brundle on for Coventry. If all being well and Brundle was fit, that would happen anyway. We're going to put Brundle into that box-to-box role that he did quite well towards the end of last season. And Pinnock's going to come on for Tracy. He's not a natural on the right, but as we mentioned with Wanadio going, we've got no backup now. So we'll have to do with Pinnock and his left-footed ability on the right-hand side and see if it makes any difference. We haven't looked like scoring, and I'm sure these three changes won't change that. Hall with the set piece. Can he do what he was brought in for? The ball's fallen back to him again, 25 yards out. He's gone wide to the left. He gets a lovely ball in, but it's blocked away by the York defender. Ashby has a wild shot, and it's deflected off the York defender for a throw-in. It's probably the best bit of play we've had in terms of 5 minutes with 2 sustained attacks. But that's saying a lot, really, isn't it? Ilasami finds Bird with the throw-in. Hall gets another good ball in. It's over everyone, though, to Pinnock, who goes all the way back to Pike, near the halfway line. He goes back into the box. It was a great ball for Shackleton. The ball's deflected in, and Ryan Bird's got the goal. It was a very lucky deflection. It was through no quality play of our own, but we'll take it any way we can get it, and a draw here would be a really good result given the circumstances. But York are going straight onto the attack from the centre circle, and Ferguson hits a big long ball up which Galafuco heads away. Brundle wins the flick, but it's straight back to them again, and we're getting caught out at the back as Gray has a shot which goes wide. York might not be being as defensive anymore, but we certainly are. There's not much to talk about in attacking terms. We've moved up to 20th with our 1-0. What a delight that is. We're going to be fighting in the bottom half of the table this year. But we moved up to 9th now. Even more interesting. 5 minutes to go, and I know you're not going to like it, but I'm going to go more disciplined, try and hold out for a draw. We haven't got the ability to chase things, but we have got a chance with Bird back to Brundle here. It's blocked and deflected again, but it's cleared away long. Galafuco's done well in the air. He's had a decent game, to be fair, Galafuco. Had that big injury last year when he was in the first team. Casey came in and developed leaps and bounds while he was in the side. But now with him back at Portsmouth and not wanting to come to us again, he's got the chance to get back in the team. It's probably a weak spot over the season, but we'll do it for now if he's going to play like this. The ball's coming back forward for York on the right. Parry gets the ball away and Brundle clears at the second time of asking. The new signing Shackleton's coming on the counter-attack. He tries to find Hyde, but I have no idea what that was. If it was an attempt at a pass, it was absolutely atrocious. And one long ball's got them in over the top again. They cross it with Norris and Pike clears behind for a corner. The ball's out for a goal kick now a minute later with Walker. We've got 1 minute of stoppage time to go and we just need to hold out at this point. But York are coming forward yet again. Parry heads away. He's been a rock at the back for us and Hall flicks it on. Shackleton and Bird try to return, but Shackleton's passing. I've got to look. What's his stat for that? Because it's awful. 9. I doubt that. He has been absolutely terrible with the 5-yard passes, and I'm starting to worry that he's our backup striker at the moment. York have got a shot from the edge, and Norris has put it wide. We're still conceding chances. We're going to pause and go defensive now. We need to get this point to keep the confidence in the first game. The only positive is that the new signing, Ryan Hall's been the star man on the pitch for us. But other than that, the performance was poor, and we were very lucky to get away from here with a draw thanks to Ryan Bird. We're going to say it was excellent because given the quality of the players, it is an excellent result. But it tells you a lot about what's to come for our season. We're in, where are we? 9th place after that one. A very dull start, a lot of draws in the league on the first day of the season. Let's see if they've got any comments on it. We've rescued a late draw. York have had the better, to be honest. We were a bit fortunate, and I can't argue with anything they've said there. Ryan Hall made a debut, he played well. If he does that a few more times, he'll turn out to be a good signing. We had the surprise last year where Jake Hyde turned out to be a fabulous signing for us, so hopefully Hall will be the same. We're going to have a quick look to see if there are any jobs on the horizon. We do look after every game, and there's nothing within our range. Only Chicago, which is, we're never going to get that, and we don't want to go to the MLS. The only one that I can see coming up that might be of interest is Sligo Rovers, two-star team in the Irish Premier Division. I don't know if they're professional at that level. I think they might be. Let me go and have a quick look. Yeah, they are a professional side, so that would probably be a step up for us if we could get it. Other than that, there's not going to be insecure jobs in Europe for at least a month or so. We'll hope that maybe we can get a lower league team in England, maybe step up to League 2 or one of the bigger professional conference sides, or even a second division game in somewhere like Scotland or Spain or Italy or somewhere like that. We might be getting a bit ambitious for now. The last thing we'll check is our reputation. It's still marked as none, but our reputation in terms of star has gone up. It's nearly at 1 full star now. Was only the half to start with. We've signed our 1 year additional contract just to make sure we've still got a job. We got a £250 a week pay rise, which is a good bonus, I guess. And we've also added Alan Kirbishley to our list of liked managers who won the league with Forest Green last year. If we go to our schedule quickly, we can see when we're going to come back next. We'll come back for that double header in the middle of September. Grimsby away and Wrexham at home. The favourites for the league, Grimsby, and Wrexham, one of the big sides who in real life I've tipped to win the league in the 18-19 season. But that's it for this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel below and chuck that notification bell on for regular Football Manager content from this head coach series every Monday to Thursday at 4:30 PM, as well as our Golden Generation save at the weekend at the same time. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on staying at Dover and not being able to get away from this club, and our director of football transfer business. Do you think it's really as bad as I'm making it out to be? Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.